good evening, and welcome to my channel, Positivity in Motion. I am Victoria, and on my channel, I share tips with you to help kickstart you into having a fantastic week. Now, today, we're going to be diving into a wonderful topic, one that has really touched me. And we'll be talking about the differences between children growing up in the 60s and those growing up today. Now, to give you a little perspective on where I'm coming from with this topic and why, over the past week, viewing social media, I was really touched. Really touched by the skills, abilities, and talents of the youth today. So much so that midweek I said to myself, that's what I'm going to talk about on my topic this week. Comparisons on what it was like growing up back when I grew up in the 60s and today. So let's get in motion. Imagine a time when kids played outside until the sun set. The only rule was that you needed to be home before the street lights came on. They rode their bikes without care and communicated face to face or through written letters. And that face to face was tough. It was a killer dealing with your parents, especially face to face. Fast forward to today, though, and we see a world where technology is at the forefront of childhood experiences with cell phones, smartphones, they call them, social media, iPads, laptops, shaping how kids interact and learn today. And this starts at a very early age. Imagine this scenario, if you would. You're in a restaurant preparing to have dinner. You see a family sitting across from you at a different table, maybe even a booth. And to keep the child focused and quiet, he's handed the cell phone. And they can quite readily operate the cell phone with their games without any assistance at about 18 months to 2 years of age. Yeah. If that's not the case, they have their own private electronic device at this age where it comes out of the bag, it's passed off to the child, and they can engage with that device without any assistance. Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just sharing comparisons on things that I think that may have impacted the situation. And not that I'm saying that it's positive or negative, because each individual family is different. But what I will say is that I was astonished this week. I was crying sometimes. I was like, how in the world are you, young man, able to do that? Feel the emotion of that and understand what you're doing. Now, I've been exposed to a variety of genres myself, whether it's music, dance, poetry, culinary, theater. I know what it takes to gain mastery in these skill sets as an adult. And these are kids, and they are doing a phenomenal job. It's crazy, off the chain, beautiful work that they are producing at such a young age. Now, tonight I'm going to talk about 3 topics that I think may have influenced some of the differences: family structure, entertainment, and media role models. Now, we know that the social environment, family structure, has undergone significant changes from the 1960s till today. It's reflecting a broader social shift, right? The traditional family, the nuclear family model, often consisted of a father, mother, and the children. And the father was generally the main disciplinary in the household. In contrast, today's family structures, they are more diverse. We see a rise in single parent families, blended families, and families with same-sex partners, as well as cohabitation without marriage even becoming common. It's common now. It's just not uncommon. So that's a huge change. And in the family structure, children basically did as they were told, whereas now they have more of a say. And I'm not saying that I disagree with that because I didn't particularly like that growing up. But the fear that was put into you, you knew not to ask too many questions. So I'm excited and happy when I see that the children can engage in healthy dialogue with the parents and making some decisions. So that's the family structure. Then there's entertainment. Entertainment in the 60s, of course, we know it reflects a broad societal change, but it was very, very limited. It was very, very limited. It was more communal with the family involved, and it involved more imaginative play on more of an individualized basis, right? Like on Saturday mornings, we watched Soul Train. Everybody watched it. And that's where we learn our dance moves and everything. But if you missed that 1 hour, you had to wait a whole week before you saw it again. Now, the shows were typically aired at a specific time, like I just alluded to. If you missed them, you just missed them. And we knew when everything came on and we were ready to tune in. It encouraged families to gather together around the TV with shared viewing experiences, which was nice. Now, today's entertainment landscape is vastly different. Television shows are now available on demand through streaming services, and they allow us, including children, to watch content at any time. And depending upon your package, you can see almost anything, almost anything. And there's not as much parental control, again, on what's viewed. Now we have media role models, right? Influences of pop culture in the 60s was basically music and the movies versus today's influencers, celebrities. Wow. You can become an influencer just because you want to. You're not investigated, you're not checked out. You just say, I want this channel, and you go in and you start it. And there are people who will come in and view your content, including children. That can be a little shaky, but it's what's going on. And with the media, also, I think that children now at a younger age learn different aspirations and values today than what we had back in the day. The culture was different. You know, we just dressed different. You were fully dressed generally. Certain things was just oust and you just didn't do them. They were not acceptable, which now almost anything goes. So you kind of do hope that the parents are involved in trying to direct their children. I think for the most part, we're doing a good job on that. Now, we've talked about the change in family structure, entertainment, and media role models. One final observation that I'd like to talk about from the 60s is that back then there was more parental control, I feel, over what children were allowed to do. Back then, if a child was disruptive, they may have been told to sit down and be quiet, and that is what they did. We weren't coerced, we weren't bribed, we just did what we were asked to do. Today, however, such behaviors are often encouraged and put on display for everyone to see, which is amazing to me, So I believe that we have lost some things from the past, but I also feel that we've gained a lot. And I am so excited for the future generations. And I hope and pray that the parents will remain vigilant in caring and directing their children, as there were troubling times back then and they still exist today. So we want to be careful with that. So I just wanted to share with you how enlightened I was, how happy I was for the generations coming and the things that they can do at such a young age. I just hope that they're not growing up too quickly, because I do believe that a child should enjoy their formative years. I think that's very important. Now, that's all that I had for tonight, and I'm still feeling excited. I'm still feeling excited for what I witnessed and what I've witnessed as we move on throughout these generations. I encourage you, though, to put some comments in the comment section about what you think the big differences are. I'd be intrigued to know. I really would. So think about that. I hope that you wake up every day knowing that you are special. I don't care what your age is. If you're tuning into my channel, just know I believe in you. You are special. There will be no one else like you on this side of life. Find your purpose and get on it. But in finding it, have some fun. Have some fun. Have a fantastic week. Victoria, Positivity in Motion, signing out.